Billionaire's Replaced Bride. Chapter 1-5. Alina Marshall. Alina is a simple, innocent, and beautiful girl who has long, straight, black hair, big eyes, and rose-petal lips. She is an orphan and doesn't remember much about her birth parents. She grew up in the household of her paternal uncle, who was quite rich. Though in that household Alina was never treated nicely, still she was grateful to them as they gave her shelter at least, with a thought that without them, she would have been brought up in an orphanage or in the worst case might be on the road. She didn't know that all the wealth, including the mansion, was her father's actually. Alina has a same-aged cousin, Alina Marshall, who is no different from her family. She also dislikes Alina, though Alina always tries to support her in any means she can. From the beginning of her childhood days, she couldn't get to have them treated her somewhat in a good manner. Alina always kept trying to get on the good terms with them by obeying their every single word, only to get herself stumbling into worse situations. She and Alina were in the same class, and Alina used to make her do the all homeworks and all of hers. She used to remain busy with her friends, hanging out till she completed her academic life and started modeling. Alina was indeed beautiful, but from within she was of not so good personality. But in front of people, she could facade like a great actress to get their attention if she wanted. After completing her course in fashion designing, when Alina, gathering some courage, asked for her uncle's permission to open a boutique shop, to her utter surprise, he gave his consent. She thought her uncle would ask her to join him in business, which she wanted the least for some reason. She wanted to do something on her own. And when he really didn't ask her to join him, rather let her do whatever she wanted without any further question, she couldn't be more grateful. But little did she know there was something her uncle had been hiding all along. Alina, with her all finances she saved from her scholarships from the very beginning, opened a small boutique shop, and tomorrow was supposed to be the opening day of it. With a contented smile, she headed back to her room after dinner. Calling it a day, she lied down on the bed and closed her eyes with a thought: a new beginning from tomorrow. Little did she know what type of beginning was actually waiting for her tomorrow. Aaron Knight. Aaron is a young man of mid-20s and a self-made millionaire. Besides having a golden heart, he is graced with a perfectly sculpted body, emerald green eyes, a sharp nose, broad shoulders, chiseled jawline that any girl could die for. Not many knew that he was also the second son of the billionaire Ethan Knight, and the future heir to the Knight Empire. Though he was born with a silver spoon, unlike other billionaire heirs, he didn't get attention and love from his family. After trying his best to get attention, Karen love from his money-obsessed billionaire parents, at some point, he gave up when he literally felt unwanted, which got him felt the bitter reality of his life, that even in his childhood days, when he came to the boarding school initially, nobody of his classmates knew about his family. Though he knew he was getting considered as an orphan almost everywhere, still he didn't feel like revealing his family background. Whether it was his schooling or university studies, he was always a topper, but never held a high air about himself, and was the humblest person ever. He was determined to prove himself based upon his natural endowment, but obviously not on his family background, where he felt like unwanted. Unlike other heirs, he never took help from his father's empire to build his company. He attained great success with his intelligence and his hard work. People who always thought of him to be arrogant and cold for his achievements in such a short period of time. But much to their surprise, he was a very kind person with a great personality. He was easygoing, a cool-minded, friendly, and humble young man with graceful physical looks who never disrespects anyone unnecessarily. However, he just hated being backstabbed or betrayed to the core. Though it was rare, but once he got angry, there was no way he would calm down easily. He fell for a girl in the starting of his career, and now after almost 2 years he was supposed to get married to his beloved in next few days. And for that day he was waiting impatiently. But Something beyond his imagination happened at his most awaited day, getting his life turned upside down. He was backstabbed and betrayed, which got the arrogant side of his all awaken in the worst way possible. Aaron's POV. The project meeting that was supposed to be held next week was declared to happen next day. When my pa informed me of that, I got all shocked for a moment. Though I felt it earlier that someone was behind it to get me out of this deal. But there was no way I was going to back off. When at first I started trying to secure a place for me in the business world, my so-called near one reminded me that there was no way I could do it alone, and I would have to get their help no matter what. It wasn't like I was so full of myself, but it's just I had belief on me and my abilities, which made me utter straight to them. I can and I will. You just watch me. For the preparation of the next day meeting, I had to keep awake till late at night. Though it wasn't like my first deal, but was very important to me, and I promised myself to give my full effort to get it. By the time I was done with my presentation, it was almost dawn. I took a short nap and then a long, cold shower to get me relieved of the stress and little bit of drowsiness. Taking something for breakfast, I rushed for my office, getting into my car. Completing my work there, I left for the conference meeting at Grand Hotel, followed by my pa, Sam. On the meeting room I got to face whom I wanted to see the least. He was smirking at me. Shrugging of that, I walked past him. Pulling out a chair from a table, I settled on it. After a few minutes, the meeting got started, and after the presentation from two companies, the name of my company was announced. As I stood on my foot and Sam got uttering, "All the best, sir." Nodding at him, I walked towards the stage. Though I was goddamn nervous, but I maintained a calm posture and reached the stage with steady steps. When I was done with my presentation, some people shot few questions that I answered easily. After that I got back to my seat again. The next person started his presentation. Like this, almost 2 hours got past. When it was the time to announce the name of the selected company who got the deal, I was almost holding my breath. There was a pin-drop silence in the hall room, where the name of my company echoed, getting me overwhelmed. I looked towards him, but he wasn't there anymore, but walking out of the hall room. Right. How could he see my success? Anyways, I focused to the stage as I was getting called there. The deal got signed with my company. I was so happy, but no one was here with whom I could celebrate my success. Sam got back, but thinking of something, I decided to stay there at the hotel for the night. The next morning when I left for office, on the way I got remembering about something. Parking the car in its specific place, I walked towards a mall. Alina's POV. I woke up early in the morning as expected. Whenever I was excited or very happy, I couldn't get to sleep well. I could remember the time when I felt uttered happy and excited when Uncle said to someone for the first time that he had 2 daughters and I was one of them. I understood it later that he didn't mean it, rather said just for saying. Anyways, today was supposed to be a new beginning for me. The opening day of my boutique shop, and I was damn excited. I didn't want to feel sad remembering those memories. I took a long shower and after dressing up myself, got downstairs. No one was awakened this time. Finding nothing else to do, I thought of preparing the breakfast for everyone and walked towards the kitchen. After some time a maid entered the kitchen. She tried to make me leave from there and did it by herself, but I politely refused and continued my work. When I was almost done, and got into the kitchen while uttering, "If you are done with preparing the breakfast, set the table." Seeing me there, she got silent for a moment. I spoke up with a little bit of smile. "Aunt, it's almost done," and seemed to get annoyed. She turned to the maid for once and then turned to me and spoke up. "What are you trying to show off by doing all this early in the morning?" "Aunt, I was just..." She didn't let me complete and spoke up. Yeah, I know your drama," and left from there. Why Aunt dislikes me this much? Whatever I do, she always says that I am showing off. I have been living here since I could remember but never get to understand her till now. Though I was treated like this always, I still got hurt this way. Shouldn't I be gotten used to it with all these years? But no. Their words still hurt me. Sometimes I wondered why. When I was done, I set the table. The maid helped me this time. She knew my situation in this household very well. I could feel her sympathy, but she didn't talk to me openly, and didn't like it. I got back to my room and getting freshened up. I got ready. By the time I was at the table, everyone was busy with their breakfast and gossip. I took my seat silently and started eating my breakfast without bothering their gossip, where I wasn't allowed to participate. While leaving the dining table, Uncle stopped midway and spoke up. Take my old car with you, but don't you dare to get a single scratch on it. I looked at him for once and just nodded without any word. After taking my breakfast, I got out of the mansion and looked at the car. You should just get a taxi, my mind chided might be, considering bad upcoming possibilities. But likewise I ignored it and got into the car. Leaving the sad happenings behind, I forced a smile on my face and drove towards my destination, being all excited. Arriving there, I drove my car towards the parking area. There wasn't much place. I just found an empty spot that was in between cars. I was so excited that I didn't get to be careful. As a result, I hit a car to its back, which was in front of me. And then, bump. From the sound, I could easily picture out the condition of the car without seeing which was in front of me. I couldn't get out of my car immediately, rather closed my eyes while uttering, I am so dead. When I got out of my trance, I stepped down immediately from my car to look at the trouble I caused. The car in front of mine looked like a very expensive one. I went near to have a better look. There was a huge scratch, with a dent at the back, and the right headlight was cracked. This car definitely belongs to someone rich, and I scratched it. Not just scratched it. It has a dent and even the headlights are broken. You are gone. My mind snapped at me. I didn't expect something like this, not at least this morning when I thought of going to have a new beginning. God, help me. What did you do to my car? A voice came from back, but I didn't get myself to look back. I have heard this voice before, but I was too out of it to recognize it. A person got near and started checking the car, and I just stood with my head keeping down. Assuming him as the owner, I spoke up. I am sorry. It wasn't intentional. Believe me. I am really sorry for this. And looked at him only to get all startled. He also seemed to be shocked like me and got uttering, you. Holy crap. Why, it has to be him out of all the person. I was surely gonna hear an earful from him today. My damn luck, which followed me everywhere but was never on my side. Alina SPOV. While parking my car between the cars, I got my car bumped to the car which was in front of mine. I kept sitting for a few moments being all startled. After some time, I got out of my car, checking the broken parts of the car that I caused. I was getting afraid to face the owner of the car. So when a person got near and started checking the damaged car, I didn't dare to look at him at first, assuming him to be the owner and fearing to face his wrath. Later, getting myself together, I apologized to him as I looked up at him only to get shocked. He also seemed to be shocked as well as he got uttering, you. I got all silent for a while. Aaron. Why, it had to be him only. I had been trying for a long time to talk to him. Actually, not me. My heart was trying to convince me to accept the feelings for him that I had been feeling from the first day of our encounter and talk to him. But I couldn't get myself to do it for some reason. On top of that, every time we encountered, I was in a self-made mess, which embarrassed me like hell. But what surprised me was his all casual and understanding nature every time I looked around to find some other person, thinking he might not be the owner of the car this time. Then I heard him speaking. Are you all right? His eyes were still on the scratches of his car. I gave him a confused look but didn't utter anything. He then turned to me and I apologized again. I am really sorry. While nodding at me, he spoke up again. It's okay. Though I got relieved but being somewhat shocked at his always calm behavior. Involuntarily a word got out of my throat. What? This time he gave me a confused look only to get me utter. I thought I will get an earful from you for my careless act this time. Hearing me, he smiled a little and spoke up. It was never intentional. I can understand. I didn't know him well, but with the car and his overall get-up, I could easily tell he was quite rich but with not so arrogant nature, and on top that his smile. It was like contagious that compelled me to smile also. His smile, to be precise, the dimple which got deeper with his laughter, was the thing that made me fall for him. And like really I got on checking out the young man in front of me, which I couldn't help every time we met. In three-piece, dark, formal tux, he looked debonair and mesmeric. His coal black hair were perfectly combed back, favoring me to get a full view of his bright face. He was quite tall, might be of 6 ft long height, and with graceful physique. To break the chain off and stop going on with my stupid thoughts, I looked away from his face. But his soft mannish voice got me turned to him immediately as he spoke up. The condition of your car is same as well. I followed his gaze to get what he meant actually. Just then something caught my eye. How could I forget that even my car had gotten hit in the process? I bent towards my car to have a better look. It had a huge dent with a few scratches, and the back lights were in the same condition as it were of the other car. Oh no! Uncle would surely kill me for this. He clearly warned me in the morning today and I already did it. What am I gonna say to him? I need to get it repaired before Uncle and or Ivana sees it. But where will I get the money now? Though I didn't get from Aaron, but I was surely gonna hear an earful from them today. Getting me out of my trance. Aaron spoke up. I was thinking of asking for the compensation of my damaged car. But I think your car did that work itself. While looking at my car, I looked at him immediately, fearing what if he really got asking for compensation. I seriously couldn't afford it now. His playful eyes made me frown. Was he teasing me? Before I could say anything, his phone rang off. He answered the call with a smile and got uttering, "Sam, I am on my way." He pocketed the phone and got uttering as he took a step ahead, "See you," only to get stopped and added, "No, actually I shouldn't say that. Right. Whenever we meet, something unpleasant happens. Anyways, take care." I got hurt at his words, though he just told the truth only. It was our third encounter, and every single time, I was in a messed up situation where I myself always took the charge to get it all messed up. Actually, Aunt says the right thing about me. Not something else, but the problem with me was no other than me actually. On top of that, my mind chided. That's true. I looked back for once as Aaron got into the car and drove away. Letting out a sigh, I forwarded towards the shop. The opening of the boutique shop and all went on smoothly, but the thought of my damaged car kept crossing my mind while reminding me of the wrath of Uncle, especially which I was going to face again very soon. I just prayed not to get homeless at the most, as sometimes Aunt got threatening me with it. Aaron SPOV. While driving towards the servicing center, I thought of Alina. This girl was really strange. I remembered the first time we met at a coffee bar. After office, I went there to meet a friend of mine. When I was about to get in, she got bumped to me pouring her drinks to my shirt. The white cotton shirt of mine got bluish stains within no moment. The little bit of anger of mine faded instantly, seeing her all afraid face as she kept apologizing. I got remembering a childhood incident of mine where I got a tight slap from Dad for doing something like this. I tried to get her calmed and spoke up with a smile. It's okay. I am thankful that at least you weren't having a hot coffee. The expression on her face was worth watching that made me smile at her. Leaving my car for servicing, I got into a taxi and forwarded towards my office. Arriving the office, I paid the driver and walked towards the entrance. Sam was waiting for me at the entrance. Seeing him like that, I got confused, but before I could say something, he spoke up. And she's here to meet you. What? I got more confused. I walked to my cabin followed by Sam. Entering the cabin and seeing Ansh's expression, I could easily tell something was wrong. I turned to Sam and nodding at me. He left my cabin. I faced Ansh. What are you doing here in my office? Giving more emphasis on the specific word. He got smirking at me and uttered, "Don't be so happy thinking you have won. It's not the end." I sat on my chair and spoke up calmly. Well, I haven't faced the defeat yet, and I guess God is up to something, otherwise the devil wouldn't try this hard to fight me. The smirk from his face got faded away in no moment. Nonetheless, he tried to get uttering, but I didn't let him. I play to win, whether it is just a practice or a real game. And I am not letting anything to get in the way of me and my competitive enthusiasm to win. Glaring at me, he spoke up, "We'll see." And I just nodded at him with a smirk on my face. Ansh left my cabin and I leaned back on my chair, closing my eyes. Why he is like that to me? What did I ever do to him to get treated like this? Nor I am trying to snatch something from him. I am happy with mine. But seeing me happy or my success, he always got mad from the very beginning. I got out of my trance when I heard a knock on my door. I composed myself and took a file as I voiced out, "Come in." Sam entered. When he didn't get uttering anything, I looked at him. "Do you have anything to say?" He uttered hesitantly, "Sir, Ansh." Knowing his further words, I got uttering, "Don't worry. I will handle it. Get back to your work." Giving me a nod, he turned to leave, but I stopped him. "Samuel." He gave me a questioning look. Must be because I called him by his full first name, that I did rarely. Without bothering his look, I forwarded a small box towards him. "It is for you." He took the box while giving me another questioning look. With a smile, I spoke up, "Happy birthday." His face flashed happiness as he uttered, "Aaron, you remembered." I just smiled at him, thanking me. He left the cabin. Sam was my friend cum pa. He was always with me in school days. After getting back from abroad, when I saw him struggling to get a job, I asked him to be with me. Though that time was just the starting of my business career, he agreed without any second thought. He always remained a good friend of mine. Smiling at the thought, I focused on the file and started working. When it was late in the afternoon, almost at the end of office hour, Sam entered my cabin. "Are you busy tonight?" I gave him a questioning look and he spoke up, "There is a small party at my house. If you would join." Then, "No. Wait. You have a flight to get tonight. It is okay. You don't have to attend it." I smiled at him and spoke up, "Sam, the flight is at 1 by night. I will stop by your place. Don't worry." "And why didn't you leave yet? I asked you to leave hours back." He spoke up smilingly, "I had some work to finish. Anyways, I am leaving now." He left the cabin and completing my work. I also left for my place. After getting a long shower, I dressed myself properly. Spending some time with Sam's family, I left. Sam had a lovely and caring family unlike me, and whenever I came here, not only Sam but his full family, uncle, aunt and Sarah, Sam's little sister, they tried their best to make me feel at home, which I missed all my life. After spending a good quality time with them, I left for the airport. It took almost 6 hours for me to land at my destination. But getting out of the airport, I got shocked. I didn't expect to see her here at this time. She was looking at somewhere. Her face was fallen. But when her eyes fell on me, her face lit up in no moment, flashing a cute smile which confused me more. What was she doing here? I wondered for a moment. I was about to take steps towards her but didn't get to take a step as she got near me herself, almost running. I stopped in my track and she reached me in few moments. I kept all silent, being somewhat confused only to get shocked at her words. Aaron SPOV. From the time I got seated in my particular seat on the flight, I started feeling damn nervous. I felt like a kid who was about to take a flight for first time. Actually, the reason behind my travel was getting me this nervous. I was going to ask for a lifetime deal with the specific one from which there would be no backing off. Without thinking the bad possibilities, I tried to get me mesmerized myself with her thoughts, our first meeting and so on. Not many knew about our relationship. It wasn't my fault though, as not me but she wanted to keep it simple, otherwise some journalists would hang around us and we would have been the gossips of people. I also didn't want that because I always liked to keep the things that mattered to me only to me without sharing a soul. But I think Sam somehow knew, though to some extent, but never opened his mouth to ask me anything about it, nor did I do that. Except Sam. She was my friend. Like a very good friend. I didn't know how, but she could understand me really well from the very beginning of our encounter. Our first meeting hit my mind. Out of nowhere she appeared there in front of me and got supporting me when I badly needed one to stand up for me. Not like I was getting dumped by someone, but something terrible was on its way to be happened to me that was nothing but a set up by Ange, which I got to know later. We became friends immediately, and that's how our journey to be together started. For the first time in my life, I was grateful to Ange that time. We have been together for the last 2 years now almost, and I thought it was time for us to knot the tie. I didn't know though what she was thinking of it. If she wasn't comfortable, I wasn't going to push her, rather I was going to wait for her till she was ready. But some part of me just wanted it to be acknowledged now. Was I being needy? I wondered. Half of me knew she would say yes for sure, but half of me was hesitant for some reason. What if she said otherwise? I just didn't want to be ignored when I put effort in. When the flight landed, it was early in the morning. I immediately made my way out of the airport with an intention to check in the hotel in which Sam booked earlier. Getting freshened up and after taking a short nap, appearing before my love like out of nowhere. I didn't inform her beforehand as I wanted to surprise her. I liked her surprised face. But getting out of the airport, I found myself getting surprised instead. My tiredness due to jet lag was long gone when my eyes fell on her. Ivana, my love. She was standing there, looking somewhere else. But as soon as her eyes fell on me, a cute smile flashed on her face. I didn't get to take more than a step towards her as she made the distance to me, covered by herself, almost running. I stood there being somewhat shocked. How did she get to know that I was coming? When she got near, I only managed to utter, "Hey." She hugged me, uttering, "I missed you." Getting overwhelmed, I hugged her back in no moment. At least there was one person in this world who thought about me and kept missing me. This feeling was inexpressible for a person like me whose existence was always ignored by his near and loved ones. Being ignored terribly caused some chemical reaction in my brain as experiencing a horrible physical injury. Though I have a family, but it made me wonder sometimes. What does a family really mean? I got out of my trance as Ivana let go of me and shot a question with a pout. "Why didn't you tell me that you are coming?" As I got uttering, "I wanted to surprise you. But see, you surprised me instead. By the way, how did you get to know?" She shrugged off the question and smiled at me. "Sam." I mentally snapped at him and then turned to Ivana. "You remembered Sam's birthday?" She smiled sadly. "Actually no. I couldn't reach you, so ended up calling him, being worried." I smiled hearing her. While talking on some random stuffs, I got into her car and forwarded towards the hotel. Alina SPOV. After closing the boutique shop when I got back home, it was late in the evening. I was praying not to get uncle or aunt saw the condition of the car, knowing and fearing the consequences. But I forgot my damn luck was with me like always. When I entered the mansion, and was near the entrance, she was talking to someone on phone all smilingly, but as soon as her eyes fell on my car, The expression got changed within the fraction of a second. By the time I got out of the car, she was done with her phone call and walked to me taking long strides. Pointing at the car, she spoke up deadly. "What is it?" I just kept my head down. I flinched when she uttered again all sternly, "I am asking you, what is it?" While parking accidentally. After that, I got my lips sealed as a tight slap landed on my cheek. "You blind? Can't you even see?" She paused for a moment and then uttered, "Don't you dare touch a car again." She stomped on her heel and walked towards the entrance the very next moment. I couldn't get to reach my hand, though I felt a burning sensation on my cheek. Tears made their way spontaneously, getting me felt somewhat better. After standing still in my place for a while, I walked towards the entrance, wiping my eyes off. I thought Uncle would be in the living room now, but he wasn't. Getting somewhat relieved, I forwarded towards my room. Getting my clothes, I got into the washroom and stood for a long shower until I started feeling cold. It wasn't something new to me. I had been getting beaten by ants since my childhood. Uncle would join ant if not standing still. Ivana used to enjoy seeing me in pain. That is how I got raised up, but still I kept hoping one day they would accept me from the heart and things would get better for me. And finally, when I felt I was never going to see that one day, I tried leaving this place, though I didn't have any place to go. That day Uncle raised his hand on me for the first time and locked me up in my room. They didn't want me to leave from this place for some reason which was still unknown to me. I again started considering, should I try to leave this place anyhow? After giving it a good thought, I decided I would leave not only this place but this city as well, as I was afraid if I stayed here, they would reach me somehow and drag me here, as I felt they weren't going to let me leave. While thinking this, I fell asleep at some point without taking my dinner. The next morning, after taking a shower, I stood in front of the mirror to check if there was any bruises on my cheek. When I saw nothing, I felt relieved. I left early for my boutique shop with a thought I need some savings getting into a taxi. This shop wasn't mine only, but Hina's also, who was a close friend of mine from college days. She was a very cheerful person, though I never talked about getting ill treatment at my place. She somewhat knew. Whenever I was sad, she was there to cheer me up. I felt really lucky to have someone at least by me. Setting up the boutique shop was the dream of us. Thinking of this, I couldn't get to tell her about my plan to leave. But I knew after me she would be able to handle it alone. 2 days passed without any unpleasant happenings. And then that day at noon, I started having a severe headache all of a sudden. Hina started forcing me to get back home. Though I was refusing, but at last had to listen to her and made my way towards my place when it was late in the afternoon. Like as always entering the mansion, I was about to get straight to my room but got stopped near the living room hearing them talking. For a moment I couldn't believe whatever was happening there or the words I was hearing. Hoping it to be a dream and to wake up desperately, I got pinching myself. But no matter how many times I pinched myself, the happenings remained unchanged, making me believe it was nothing but the bitter reality. Thanks for listening to the Bravonovel audiobook. Welcome to download the Bravonovel app. Read the novel Billionaire's Replaced Bride online and get the latest updates.